Welcome to another episode of Jabba. Today's podcast is called From Passion to Projection, the untold tale of an indie filmmaker. I hope to share an insight into the captivating world of filmmaking. I'm your host, Sanj Saigal, and joining me all the way from Hollywood is a renowned movie producer who's brought countless memorable stories to the big screen. Also a model, an actress with an Instagram following touching the 700,000 mark. Please welcome Chelsea LeSage. Chelsea, thank you so much for joining us today. It's lovely to have you back on the show again.
Yes, thank you so much for bringing me back. It's good to hear your voice.
It's good to hear yours. It's been a while. Well, I thought we'd jump straight in. And I wanted to talk, really, this podcast is aimed at the production side of making movies. And I thought that would be a great insight to share with the audience. As a movie producer, you play a very vital role in bringing a film to life. Please share with our listeners a little bit about what it entails and how you got started in the indie movie industry.
Oh my goodness. Where to begin? Yeah, so being a producer in an indie film is like this whole journey. It starts, of course, with the idea for the story that is going to the screenplay, right? Everything's hard. My dog is scratching her chin right next to my microphone.
That's okay. It's live.
It's allowed. It's allowed. Yes, Peanut, I know. But so we have pre-production and development stages, of course, where you really try and hone in and take the opportunity to find investors to invest in your movie, and that's part of the whole production part of it. Peanut, can you not right now? And then we go into, planning and actually shooting and making this movie. I'm making it sound way simpler and shorter of a time frame than it actually is. This can go out for weeks, months, years even, to be the final project, post-production before the final product. So it's kind of very hands-on in every single thing from birth to like rebirth in its final form of the film. And
I've got to ask you this question. Is it harder to raise the finance and go through all the different stages that you mentioned post-COVID? Is it harder or is it just the same?
Well, yeah, since COVID, it's certainly changed since COVID. What I've noticed is, we really, when COVID and lockdown happened, we relied on movies and television for like daily entertainment to keep ourselves as sane as we possibly could. So there's such an uptick in, things if they were finished, really pushing them out there for the world to see, and we're eating it up because we didn't have anything else to do. So I noticed that, of course, there was a lag in people wanting to invest because they can't leave their house because we can't start shooting said movie would invest it until the laws are lifted. But I still had some luck with having people who had already said that they'd invest, like not leave in the wayside when we were able to start back up again.
Because you wear a lot of different heads, right? You are involved in the production side. In some of your movies, you're in them. So there's quite a different sense of wearing different heads. Are you able to sort of distinguish which head to wear on which day, or does it all just get mixed up in the same pot?
I feel like I've lost all of my heads. I'm like, sometimes. And can't differentiate between the two of them. No, what's interesting is over the years, as I've kind of grown and learned both on in front of the camera and behind the camera, I've somehow figured out a system to kind of switch each of the hats on and off when I'm honest itself. Of course, there are moments where, I'm watching myself perform in a film that I'm also producing, and you have those internal thoughts sometimes of like, God, I wish I read that line differently, or why did they use that take? And you picked that take, So sometimes it's a little difficult to differentiate between all three if I'm directing or whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
Never boring. You have to be an insane person to do this. Basically.
Well, look, what kind of, for people tuning in, they're sort of looking at the angle of the challenges that face you. You've touched on a few of those. What kind of challenges do you face as a producer in 2024?
Again, as I just said, not losing all of my heads at the same time. Building I guess since COVID really changed everything, and now that we're like back to normal, some people are still like hesitancy on trusting like a small family of indie filmmakers. I've noticed that's a challenge. Because that's what I really, with my production company, is what I aim to do, is making them feel like they're a part of a family and we're all a team and we're all just as important as the next person in order to get this, you know, where we want it to be. So that's a challenge for sure. You know, not having enough hours in the day, that's a challenge.
You play that very well though, because I mean, you're a workaholic. I know that.
I really am. It's starting to get, you know, like the other day, my body was just like, and full stop. You need to stop doing what you're doing and just sleep. So I did.
What about experiences? I mean, you know, we talk about these movies and being involved in the production process. If you had to say or to share any sort of memorable experiences or projects that really have defined your career, what would they be?
Ooh, well, I guess.
Question.
No, and it's wonderful. I guess the biggest one is really the thing that got me into production, being a producer anyway, was I auditioned for this Irish vampire movie.
Right.
Didn't get the part, but how I put the chair down in the audition room reminded my now production company partner, Charles Lincoln, of his protagonist in his upcoming novel, 21st Century Demon Hunter. Right. So it's like, and he hired me then to be on the cover of the novel. And then I was like, have you ever thought about making this like a, you know, a web series or a TV show? And he hadn't. But that night he went and he made 6 scripts that night. So, and then later on, because, you know, we're working guerrilla style filmmaking, we're shooting on a point and shoot on season 1 of that. And you can get that on DVD and Blu-ray. And season 1.5 is coming out very soon. And with that, we have a full production team. But
so that was an experience that really showed you the way, kind of.
It really did. And I invested. That's how I became a producer. And like, that's how it all began. It gave me that role, Julia Lightly, gave me whatever foundation of like fame or whatever it is that I have. And it's the first time I was a producer because I really wanted it to go well. So I invested.
Well, you forced that situation, didn't you, in a way, in a strange way. But what kind of, I mean, that sounds like an incredible journey. Do you have any sort of advice for aspiring movie producers? Because obviously you forced that situation. Should you be forceful? Should you create opportunity because it's not going to come knocking at your door? What should you do?
Well, you know, that's what big casting directors and agents and stuff always tell you what to do, is just like, you got to create your own content. You have to force these things upon yourself because it's not going to fall into your lap. Advice to aspiring movie producers is don't do it.
Everyone says that.
I know. It's just, you know, it's a great learning experience. You have to be patient and you have to work with people who are better than you in order to get better. But that's true in any industry.
Right.
It's definitely rewarding for sure. Like when we have a premiere and I like see all my actors there, and sometimes it's like we call CL Square Productions, Charles Lincoln and I, we call ourselves like the Law and Order of indie horror, where like every actor in New York is like been hired by us, and has been in one of our things, and just seeing them all, you know, if we have a premiere or whatever. Amazing. Is so rewarding.
What about I have to touch on the other side of you, which is the modeling side of you, because for the audience tuning in, you know, you continue to draw the attention of companies that want you to represent their brand. And I've got to read this out, because there's so much to read. But you modeled for JCPenney, Venus, Sephora, Michael Kors and Paul Mitchell, just to name a few. But you've also been a cover girl for many, many more. How much of you is still involved with modeling, or have you sort of sidestepped? You found your entry point into filmmaking and that's where you are now?
Oh my goodness. Well, I guess it depends on the day. It's like when people ask me what I do for a living, and I'm like, depends on the hour, never mind the day. Modeling is the best day job imaginable. And, you know, they go hand in hand. You have to be good at acting, I think, to be a model. And no, I still model full time. I mean, you know, as much as I can. Sure. I just got back from Los Angeles, and now, you know, I'm going to South Carolina tomorrow to model for something else, and then I'm in Atlanta shooting a movie at the end of and modeling is so hard. And I remember as a kid, because I I hit puberty at age 9 and kind of shot up real quick, and everyone was like,
"You were 5'11" at the age of 13, is that right, or something like that?"
Yes, there was.
Incredible.
You're
still tall. You're still tall.
I am giant.
It paid off, right? It paid off. So, so did that career lead to modeling in some strange way? Was it, you said you were the cover of the horror novel that sort of played a domino effect on your career. So do you strongly believe that, there are a lot of actors that start out as models, right?
Yeah. And right now it's like, everyone, if you're lucky enough, is doing both.
Right.
Still, but I didn't want to be a model. My naivete as a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut, a basketball player, and a clarinetist. But still am. Well, wait, not an astronaut. Not. But I stupidly thought that models were dumb growing up. So, and now it's like one of the most difficult jobs. It really, really is.
It is.
And I love that people keep hiring me to be a part of their brands, because I know it's my personality too. And I know that people enjoy having me on set. And I do have my first billboard in Times Square coming out this summer.
Oh my God. Seriously? When is that? When is that happening? You didn't tell me that.
You're like, no, it's happening in, I can't tell you what brand, but it's on that list. And
oh my God, that must be a milestone for you, that that you reached the pinnacle, really. That's the final accolade of being a model, I suppose. When you've hit the big time, you've hit those boards.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel, and I'm really, really fortunate and very lucky.
Amazing. It's absolutely outstanding. Well, look, I have to go to your next, the other part of you, which is the CL Squared production. So for the audience who are tuning in, and if you are unfamiliar with Chelsea on this side of the pond, I can tell you that she's the co-founder of CL Squared Productions and Golden Grand Piano Productions. My question to you, Chelsea, is how do you find time to do everything? In silence.
I was just thinking, I was like, I don't find time to do everything. I've become like my father and make Post-it lists everywhere, or I'll forget something. I hate Google Calendar. So I'm like, if it's important, I'll write it down.
I'm guessing you have to be, time management is something I suppose that you have to be really good at. Do you do that alone? You use technology, or you have a PA who does everything for you?
Oh no, I would really, my last manager was like, I think you need an assistant. So I think I'm not quite wealthy enough to do that yet, but I would really like to, because again, I'm losing my head. Right. A little bit, but the time management, I'm actually really terrible at. My family and we are all procrastinators. And because we find out that,
but it's played to effect. You've had so much success in what you're doing. I suppose in a way, subconsciously, you must be really good at it.
Thank you. Hey, I need that boost on this Monday.
Here's the award.
Or is this because it's April Fool's Day? Are you messing with me?
Well, look, you're involved with the movie production side of it. I know that, being the founder of these production companies and so on and so forth, are you involved with other people? I know you mentioned you've got somebody who's involved with one of the production companies. Is the other one yours, or do you co-produce with other producers?
Yes, the CL Squared Productions is, as I said, Charles Lincoln and I, and 21st Century Demon Hunter. I produced Teresa and Allison that he also wrote, and then we have our upcoming Bishop's Cove, which is us, and we do primarily horror, and then Golden Grand Piano is Dan Gindon and I, and we've been doing we did Macbeth, A Cursed Film, and The Confession of John Wilkes Booth, which are both available on Tubi and stuff, and that's more like historical, or like we're reaching into comedy and stuff like that. Wow. Dan writes, shoots, and I direct and produce, and he's writing some really funny roles for me and stuff that we have coming up too. So they're both wonderful men to be working with, and they kind of keep me sane and drive me insane at the same time. And it's wonderful.
I have to ask you this question because, a lot of people who have tuned in are looking at your credentials, and 700,000 followers is just incredible. And I know that, you by default, I'm assuming you've become an influencer. How much of your daily activities are you conscious about when you post something? This the following. It's a huge amount of people watching every move you make.
Thank you. So I know it's a good thing because I can influence people to do good, but I just every time it's just like, oh, Chelsea, the same because she's an influencer. I'm like, because I kind of fell into it. Everything that I'm posting is something from a job for the most part, and it's good because I can be like an agent for change and stuff. Right. Of course, what post is when and what time and what hashtags. I do have an Instagram helper.
That's a business in itself, right?
It is. I'm so nice, and I'll be like, people aren't joking. I used to call bullshit, but nobody's. It's not really a joke when people are like, "So what do you do for work?" I'm like, Instagram.
Get a real job.
And I'm sure people are trying to tell me to get into TikTok and stuff like that, and I'm like, I'm too old for that. I'm not doing that.
But it's just so nice that you're able to change people's lives. I guess on some scale, they're looking at your journey and they want a piece of it. They want to follow your path, so to speak. So in a way, I suppose your words, your images, they all count to someone who's sort of aspiring to be in your sector.
Thank you. You're going to make me cry. I'm like getting here teary-eyed.
But I suppose that's the name of the game, really. I suppose you all want to leave a mark in some way. I know I do, when long after this game is over. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to leave a mark.
Yes. Yeah,
so you're currently working on feature films, right? The Virginia Bitches and the Coup Hatch. And you've just wrapped up the world premiere of A Wedding Story at the Chain Theatre. And I know you're an absolute workaholic like me. I've mentioned that. What's next for you? I mean, what's on the horizon? Can you mention it, or is it sort of under secret? It's a secret.
No NDAs have been signed yet, but no, that was stuff that I'm like producing or co-producing myself. There's another feature in the pipeline through Saigal Squared called Luna in Persia. Right. And then there is a seagull just almost flew into my door. Sorry, that scared me.
There's a lot going on in your place, I can tell you.
So much going on. What do you call it? And then there's a feature-length film that will be called Touched, and then 2 pilots coming out through Golden Grand Piano Productions that are comedies. Right. So,
are you in those, or are you just producing them?
I will be in all of them, yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and some of them I'm also directing, which is cool.
Very nice. Well, look, I know you've got like thousands of things to do today. I know you're very busy, and I'm very lucky to have you on our schedule. Thank you so much, Chelsea, for sharing your insights and experiences with us today. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show again, and I can't wait to see you again shortly. Hopefully you'll release these new movies and come and talk to us again about them. Details of Chelsea's website are in the description box. Don't forget that she appears in our latest magazine, The Foreboding Fractured, which is released in May. Thank you, Chelsea, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. So good to be here. And
You're welcome.
I can hopefully see you when I'm out your way next week.
Yeah, hopefully we're going to meet up for coffee when you're here. So yeah, it'd be lovely. Thank you to all our listeners for tuning in to this episode of Jibba Jabba. Stay tuned for more captivating stories from the world of filmmaking. Please remember to subscribe to our channel. Until next time, bye for now.